what's your advice for people in general on how to learn all the state-of-the-art AI tools available? Like you mentioned, the new models coming out all the time.
Yeah.
Like how do you pay attention? How do you stay on top of everything?
I think you need to join Twitter, X. X is amazing now, and the whole AI industry is on X, and they're all like anime avatars.
Mhm.
So it's funny because my friends ask me this, like, who should I follow to stay up to date? And I say, go to X and follow all the AI anime models that this person is following or follows. And I send them some URL, and they all start laughing, like, what is this? But they're real, like, people hacking around in AI. They get hired by big companies, and they're on X. And most of them are anonymous. This is very funny. They use anime avatars. I don't. But those people hack around and then they publish what they're discovering. They talk about papers, for example. So yeah, definitely X.
It's great. I almost exclusively all the people I follow are AI people.
Yeah, it's a good time now.
But also just brings happiness to my soul because there's so much turmoil on Twitter.
Yeah, like
And
politics and stuff.
There's battles going on. It's like a war zone, and it's nice to just go into this happy place to where people are building stuff.
Yeah, 100%. I like Twitter for that most, like building stuff, like seeing other, because it inspires you to build, and it's just fun to see other people share what they're discovering, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna make something too. It's just super fun. And so if you want to start, go on X, and then I would go to Replicate and start trying to play with models. And when you have something that kind of you manually enter stuff, you set the parameters, something that works, you can make an app out of it or a website.
Can you speak a little bit more to the process of it becoming better and better and better? Photo AI.
So I had this photo AI and a lot of people using it. There was like 1 million or more photos a month being generated. And I discovered I was testing parameters like increase the step count of generating a photo or changing the sampler like a scheduler. Like you have DPM2, Caras, all these things I don't know anything about, but I know that you can choose them when you generate an image and they have different resulting images. But I didn't know which one were better. So I would do it myself, test it. But then I was like, why don't I test on these users? Because I have 1 million photos generated anyway. So on like 10% of the users, I would randomly test parameters. And then I would see if they would, because you can favorite a photo or you can download it. I would measure if they favorite or like the photo. And then I would A/B test, and you test for significance and stuff, which parameters were better and which were worse.
So you start starting to figure out which models are actually working
Exactly.
well.
And then if it's significant enough data, you switch to that for the whole, all the users. And so that was like the breakthrough to make it better. Just use the users to improve it themselves. And I tell them when they sign up, we do sampling, we do testing on your photos with random parameters, and that worked really well. I don't do a lot of testing anymore because it's like I kind of reached like a diminishing point where it's like it's kind of good. But there was a breakthrough, yeah.
So it's really about the parameters of the models that choose and letting the users help do the search in the space of models and parameters for you.
Yeah. But actually, so like Stable Diffusion, I used 1.5, 2.0 came out, as Stable Diffusion XL came out, all these new versions, and they were all worse. And so the core scene of people are still using 1.5 because it's like, it's also not like what do you call it, neutered, like they neutered like to make it super like with safety features and stuff.
Yeah.
So most of the people are still on Stable Diffusion 1.5, and meanwhile, Stable Diffusion, the company went like, the CEO left, a lot of drama happened because they couldn't make money. And yeah, so they gave us, it's very interesting, they gave us this open source model that everybody uses. They raised like hundreds of millions of dollars. They didn't make any money with it, or not a lot. And they did an amazing job. And now everybody uses open source model for free. And they did, it's amazing. Like it's amazing.
You're not even using the latest one.
No, and the strange thing is that this company raised hundreds of millions, but the people that are benefiting from it are really small, like people like me who make these small apps that are using the model. And now they're starting to charge money for the new models, but the new models are not so good for people. They're not so open source, right?
Yeah, it's interesting because open source is so impactful in the AI space, but you wonder like what is the business model behind that? But it's enabling this whole ecosystem of companies that they're using the open source models.
So it's kind of like those frameworks, but then they didn't, bribe enough influencers to use it, and they didn't charge money for the platform,